Welcome to the Migrant Resource Centre, Northwest Region Incorporated Diversity and Disability YouTube channel. Your Life, Your Voice program, where self-advocates and professionals in the disability sector are interviewed.
The Diversity and Disability Project would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we work and live and recognise their continued connection to land, water and community. We pay respects to elders past, present and emerging.
Nothing about us without us. We pay respects to all self-advocates who have worked hard over the years and still working tirelessly for their rights, supporting others with disabilities and human rights for all.
This channel is for people with disabilities who aspire to seek self-advocacy role models to inspire change in their everyday lives. Nothing about us without us. Choice and control are central themes. Every interview is as unique as you and I.
And it has our fundamental universal human rights ethos of respect for persons with disabilities, having their views heard and acknowledged. After all, it's all in the name. Your life, your voice.
Be the voice of change in your life.
Good morning and welcome to another edition of Your Life, Your Voice. My name is Julie and I'd like to welcome my co-host, Guler Thomas. How are you, Guler?
Hi people, YouTube land. Hope you're all well and get ready for today's session.
Yeah, so today we decided to do a segment which is central to life really. It's all about friendships. So yes, and other things related to friendships. So let's just start off with the PowerPoint, Golea, please.
Yeah. Okay.
So today we're talking about friendships, relationships, family and sex, which is on the second layer. I think it's the second layer of the Maslow hierarchy of needs. So friendship is the only cement that will ever hold the world together. And this is a quote by Woodrow T. Wilson. I think Woodrow was an American president by memory. Anyway, so there's a link there. And sex, for without sex there is no procreation and lots of frustration. And there's a bit of a joke there. Author of this presentation, which shall be unnamed.
Okay. Oops. So this presentation includes friendship pyramid, why are friends important, 6 ways to meet new people and find support, ways to build friendship, ways to build friendship and join a group, conventions and laws, United Nations Convention rights, people with disabilities, the UNCRPD Article 18 rights to family and relationships, life matters, people with disabilities have the right to sex. This is how we change laws, questions for reflection. Yeah.
Okay, so here we have the friendship pyramid. So pyramid starts big on the bottom and goes up, as you can see with the visual. So at the bottom, how about we start from the bottom up? So 5 are strangers, and they're considered low level of in the friendship pyramid, and have no idea of each other's existence. So I suppose strangers could be someone you pass by at a supermarket, someone you see at a train stop. Yeah, so those sorts of people. So we have to be really careful on because safety is a big issue with everyone, and uh, people with disabilities sometimes can be considered targets. So we have to be really careful of who we accept in our friendship group.
Yeah, could I add to that? Like they often talk about that strangers and being careful, but like most people are warned, like, stranger danger stuff. But sometimes what could happen is someone could be a close friend and still be a danger. So just wanted to put that out there that, strangers, we always think that strangers are where dangers are, but sometimes danger is also there in other levels of this friendship pyramid.
And also, if you get a funny feeling in your stomach, maybe you should listen to that because that's your intuition telling you that you don't feel comfortable, especially if there are friends of the family, there may be family, might be uncles, cousins. If you get that funny feeling in your stomach, uh, uh, you have to write out of it and to find support. And sometimes support may not be family. Sometimes support may be through your support worker, someone you trust, a service, a friend. So yeah, because yeah, it's really tricky when it's someone in the family that your family are close to. So just keep that in mind, please. So as we go on, number 4 on the pyramid, friendship pyramid, is acquaintances. So acquaintances sometimes could be like occasional contact with very general knowledge, and you talk about general knowledge. So I think that sometimes acquaintances and strangers could be in a similar basket in the friendship, but it's someone you may see on a regular basis. So what are your thoughts on acquaintances, Guler?
Well, acquaintances are people that you know of, but you're not really in day-to-day life with them. Like there's just sort of quite distant. That, if you imagine, your friendship in a circle, for example, like this, like a circle, and in the middle, just say that's you, and then it's like the layers of an onion ring. So you've got the onion, and the center is where you are, and then there's layers that keep going outer and outer and outer and outer. So the very outer layer, like this is an idea of a pyramid, giving you that indication. But also, if you look at it like as when you cut up an onion, so the very outside layer that's closest to you in the center is really distant. So the next layer would be acquaintances and so on and so on while you go through this, Julie. But that's what I feel.
Okay, that's a good explanation. So let's move on from that. So number 3 on the pyramid, friendship pyramid, are casual friends. The casual friends, you have common interests and activities. You meet more frequently than acquaintances and not seriously emotionally connected. So casual friends could be maybe someone at school that you see. Um, yes, so someone that you may meet at a nightclub, perhaps. Maybe someone you meet at a service that you go to, and they come in and out of the service. So you have a few common interests. You may like to go bowling together, but when we talk about emotional type of connections, Like you wouldn't necessarily talk to them about, very serious things about your connection with. Maybe you have an issue with your family, and you may not talk about those serious emotional issues, but you enjoy each other's company and you just spend time together. Yes. So do we want to move on from that?
Keep going for the other topic. Yeah, the other bit. Yeah.
So anyway, so number two is close friends. So close friends who share similar values, ideas, and worldviews. You have mutual interests, life goals, and work together to achieve goals. You're connected in mind, body, and spirit, and most people never get this far. So yes, so close friends are very important in life. Um, I think that you don't really need a lot of close friends because, close friends sometimes can be tricky in themselves if you have too many. And too many close friends sometimes can lead to your personal details being shared amongst friends, and maybe you don't want this information disclosed to others. So, rule of thumb that I follow: if you have maybe 1 to 3 close friends, that is a lot because you don't want to, get into arguments and stuff like that, or you have the same understanding. So that probably will come under you share similar values, ideas, and worldviews. Yes. So and some close friends they come and go. So I've had close friends that when I was growing up, and then we reconnected after my father passed away, and we remain connected. So different stages of life takes us through different stages. So some people may get married, and I chose not to get married. So then people come and go out of your life. It doesn't mean that you are not still close friends. It's just that you're at the stage of life that you have different interests, and but you never lose your close friends as a general rule. You just move away, come back in different stages of life. And number one is a very, very tricky topic for people with disabilities because it touches on intimate friends. And so, intimate friends are committed to the development of each other's characters, mutual responsibility of honesty, and connected to soul to soul. And we'll talk about intimate friends a bit later in the session.
Yeah. I guess I'd like to sort of make people aware that with friendships and friendship circles and all the different layers that Julie just told us about, uh, I would like the intimate friends, close friends, casual friends, acquaintances, and strangers. There's what is really important is sometimes as an individual with disabilities, you can feel quite isolated. And that could be because of many reasons. And often what would happen is that the lines might blur between acquaintances and casual friends or close friends, because you might see someone that you might put into the category of acquaintances, or vice versa, or someone put themselves as casual friends, but they might see them as close friends. So it's really up to you how you define it. But the other person that you have that friendship with might see it a bit more different. And so the other thing is boundaries. You've got to have healthy boundaries when you're looking at your friendship, and you sometimes some people might ask things that are inappropriate. They might be on the outer level, but they might want to discuss inappropriate things with you or talk about things, and they're just being nosy about your situation. So just remember your boundaries, and enjoy the friendships that you have around with you. Yeah.
So, Guler, if people feel that way, they feel triggered that this person's being a little bit too confronting in their questions, what are some of the words we can use to let them know that we don't want to talk about that topic at this time?
Yeah, you could just say how you're feeling about it. If you have, you might. It depends. If what communication you're using. If you're using a dine-on box or something, you can still be assertive with the voice that you use on your machine, and say, look, this is inappropriate, or yeah. So you need to be able to communicate that to the person the way you communicate. And it's like assertiveness. Like, for example, what I call the broken record method. So they might say something, and they might not accept your boundaries, but you got to repeat it like a broken record. So they might say, oh well, yeah, let's see what we're doing, let's go out, uh let's think about these things. And they might be stepping over your boundaries, but to be able to show them your boundaries, what you want to do is to be like a broken record. I don't want to continue with this conversation. If they keep going, look, I feel uncomfortable with this. And then you've got to make a judgment call, like what Julie said earlier on about feeling something in your stomach. But some people might get awarenesses in different parts of their bodies or not at all, but they just sort of think, this doesn't sound right. Like, there's a red flag about this. So just, remove yourself from that situation, and very politely. And what you say is up to you, and you have every right to continue that conversation or not continue that conversation.
So the words you can use is I'm not going there with you at this moment. You can walk away. Yes, so these are some of the strategies you can use if you don't feel comfortable with the situation. You can even stop calling the person or stop communicating with them if that's your choice. Or you can talk, or you can get support from your usual support providers that you feel safe and comfortable with.
Okay. Why
Okay.
are friends important? The philosopher Aristotle said, in poverty and other misfortunes of life, true friends are a sure refuge. They keep the young out of mischief, they comfort and aid the old in their weakness, and they incite those in the prime of their life to noble deeds. Friendships improves happiness and abates misery by doubling our joys and dividing our grief. Marcus Tullius Cicero. And we've also got a little URL, an address that you could look up. And I would suggest maybe taking a photo of the screen that you're looking at the moment, or pause the screen and just type those into your device. And there's more information there for you.
Okay, 6 ways to meet new people and find support. Number one, utilize technology. Technology is a great way to stay connected with the people we love, especially if friends and family live far away. Utilize video communication software such as Skype, WhatsApp, Facebook, or Messenger, which can be used on your computer or phone and are free. Number 2, download a friendship app. Most people know the impact that dating apps have had on many people's love lives. But did you know that there are also dedicated friendship apps for those not looking for anything romantic? They are a great way to meet someone with similar interests to you and don't even need to leave the house in order to get connected. If you are looking for more than friendship, there are a number of dedicated dating sites for people with a disability too. Disability Horizons article on disabled dating sites rounds up the best. So, yeah, um, we often think about, maybe going to step 3 when really there are lots of steps to making connections, whether they're friendships or romantic. And what are the ways to like what are the ways to maintain things is to set up with common interests. And friendships are a good way to do that. So common interests, common core values, and then maybe things can develop, or maybe you just want to be friends. So nothing is wrong or right, but always respect the other people's opinion and boundaries.
Yeah, like some friendships might be fluid, it might be different. It sometimes you don't know where to put a person, say in that, in that hierarchy that we saw before. But always go with what your needs are and mutual needs are, and like I said, like we keep saying, know your boundaries for yourself, healthy boundaries that you are happy with, because there's all these what is it, swipe left or right or something with these dating apps and things. So some people, what do they call it when they're not real people, but they make it up? They're
Fake profile.
Yeah, fake profiles and stuff. So be aware of that as well. Yeah.
Also, if you have trouble with your hands, or maybe just type in or say disability dating sites and it'll come up on Siri.
Yeah.
Or maybe friendship groups. I'm sure if you type in friendship groups, something will come up.
I think there's another thing called, I've heard people talk about Meetup or something.
Yes, Meetup is a good app where and it could be online or in person. Where when it's in person, there's Meetup has organisers, and organisers have activities that people can join. So, and then you have to book. So if it's a restaurant or maybe bowling or some other activity, you put your name down. You're going to attend the meetup, and it's a very cheap and effective way actually to meet people. So, and you maybe you just want to be around people, and that's fine. It's a very safe way I've found to get out and to meet new people. It's very cheap, so the actual standard at the moment is a gold coin donation to the organiser, which is really it's quite good, because for the amount of work that they go through, that just covers their costs. And then whatever you do, whatever activity you do, so it's bowling, if you out to dinner, you just pay for those costs. But it's a very viable way to get out there and meet people, whether you're after a friendship or something else that may develop.
Okay.
Thank you, Guler, for bringing
Yeah.
it up.
So number 3, get a pet. Yes. Animals truly are man's or woman's. It's interesting. Yeah. Best friends and be a great way to deal with loneliness in your everyday life. We know that older people with dementia use dogs to minimize loneliness. There are a lot of my little pets actually. You can hear him. He's playing with his toy. My cat says, sorry about the noise.
How appropriate is that? On cue.
On cue, yes. He was scratching his scratch post and playing with his toy. Anyway, so sorry about if you can hear things in the background. It's just my cat having fun. So there are a lot of different options: cats, dogs, rabbits, hamsters, guinea pigs, fish. The list goes on. It's important to think about what will suit you and your abilities best. You'll need to take care of your pets as much as it will be there for you. Dogs will need walking, which could encourage you to get out of the house, but only if you can. Cats, on the other hand, are more independent, so might be a better choice if you're unable to leave the house. Any animal that requires a cage will need it tended to, so make sure you can do so before you decide. The RSPCA has a number of guides on how to care for a range of different pets. Animals can be more than just pets too. They can offer assistance. Service dogs can be trained to help with everyday tasks or help you out and about, especially if you're visually impaired. See whether you're eligible for help from a dog by visiting www.assistancedogs.org.au. So it's assistancedogs.org.au. A pet may not be the same as a human, but they can provide both companionship and care. And I think that it's, if you got to take that responsibility in looking after a pet as well. There's their health and their well-being, but what you get in return is just amazing. What's your experience with that, Julie? Can you add to it?
I do like pets, but I don't have any because I was actually a caregiver for a very long time, and now those responsibilities are over. Um, I find that my lifestyle, which is basically very out there and going out a lot, I think it's cruel to have a pet here alone in my home and not give them the care and attention that it deserves and needs. So I don't have a pet, but I do love pets. I play with my friends' pets.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I do recognise that they're amazing source of companionship. And so yes, so I've got an elderly friend who's 85, and her cat's over 100 now, and she's still alive. And yes, so and this cat's this particular cat understands her owner, so that it's almost human, like they understand each other, and they've got cues that they use that when she wants to have her food, she stands by the fridge. When she wants to go to the toilet, she stands at the door. So they're very emotionally responsive to the owner, and the owner becomes responsive to the actual animal.
Yeah, they say that dogs have owners and cats have staff.
Yes, so what's the saying? Yeah, that's right. So yeah, cats have staff. Yeah, I know a person that uses it a lot. So she actually abused me as a cat,
What?
which is a bit demeaning. I don't think I'm a cat personality. Well, it's a long running type of joke that we have. So apparently I have staff, so I can deal with that. Like it's fine. It's a bit of a running joke that we have together. So yeah, so that's fine. Um,
Yeah.
Yes.
That'd be beautiful, hey? Like to, yes, there is the responsibility of the pet. You do need to give it attention, and you can't just leave them isolated. Or like during COVID lockdowns, there was a lot of pets, wasn't there, that people took on, and now I think there's a lot of pets in shelters because the people aren't there anymore.
Yeah, and I suppose I view myself as a responsible person, and you do have to think about your choices in life because anything alive is has feelings. That's what I believe, and uh, a lot of animals have shown this in videos that people watch. You find that sometimes animals from different species take on a mother role of of an orphan. So animals do have feelings and that connect and the need for connection, I believe, which has been proven in lots of different ways.
Yeah. Okay, we'll go to the next slide. Okay.
Volunteering. Volunteering is such a great way to give back and meet friends while you do it. Disability Horizons member Mark Wilson can attest to that. And you can read his article on the value of volunteering. And there are lots of different volunteering places you can volunteer, and you can investigate these. And there's an actual organisation that you can go to that has a list of organisations that need volunteers. And the great thing about most volunteer organisations is that they have special programs in place specifically for people with a disability. Even if you think you are unable to perform the same tasks as other volunteers, they are likely to have programs that can meet your needs. So I don't know, do you think if you click that one of those links, Guler, do you think something will come up?
It doesn't. Hang on. Maybe I have to cut and paste it.
All right.
You have to cut and paste it.
Do you think it's worthwhile, or should we go on?
We could look. I think it's important to. I think a lot about volunteering. You can do many things. For example, if you want to study a certain area, you can volunteer in that field, and then you could study and get into that line of work, for example.
Yeah, it's a good way to test out whether you like something or don't.
Yeah.
Before you get into it, maybe through study or through actually doing the work, not being paid to do the work. So it's a good segue for people to explore.
Yeah. So I have opened up the other thing. Let me just, I'll just need to get you into that bit.
Cool.
So we can have a look at the website that was suggested.
So Volunteer West.
Yeah.
So yes, and I'm sure if you live in other parts of like Australia, there will be organisations relevant to this page.
Yeah. So there's a section in this website. It says, I want to volunteer. I need volunteers or discover our impact. So you could actually look at this yourself, put it on your device. It's called volunteerwest.org.au, or you could just type in, I want to volunteer. I'll just click on I want to volunteer and see what happens. So here it goes, start your volunteer journey here. Volunteer West provides a free volunteer referral service that matches your skills, experiences, interests, and availability with volunteer roles available in Melbourne's West. So you can do things like that, like get yourself registered and into the into the internet. So, there's what else? You can there's lots of sections. There's find opportunity. So there's that available there. But I'll take us back to our where we were. So here we go. I'll put us back onto the volunteering thing.
Okay.
So yes, it's really worthwhile to volunteer for many things, including having those acquaintances and friendships and doing something with someone else. And yeah, there's many things that you can get out of volunteering, which is a great way to get out of the house as well if you're sort of isolated a bit.
Yeah, and it helps with mental health issues. When you're around people and you're doing things that you love to do, and if you just be with someone and having a coffee, it doesn't have to be a big thing. In our parish, I'm very involved in my parish, and there's old people that are alone, and sometimes I go visit them, have a coffee with them. Sometimes I support them in getting some referral for a medical issue that they have, or sometimes some medical thing goes wrong, and I have an idea to help them to fulfill that need. So it's very fulfilling to help another um, vulnerable person. I think in life, I think looking after each other is very important, and I do think that you do get back a lot more than you give when you help someone else. Do we want to move on, Guler? Are we frozen, Guler? Oh, I think we've had a technical problem, so I might need Guler to come back on. In the meantime, we'd like to know more about your experiences with friendships, and maybe you have strategies you can share with us on our channel, Your Life, Your Voice. We have a comment section on our YouTube channel, so all comments are welcomed and responded to. And yes, just log on to our channel, Your Life, Your Voice, and leave us your feedback. In the meantime, I might just Google something.
Vicks Vapor Drops plus cough to clear blocked nose, soothe sore throat and relieve cough. Vicks Vapor Drops plus cough. Wurst ist auch gut. Wurst ist auch gut. Thank you for being a friend. Travel down a
again. Your heart is true.
Okay, I'm back.
And a confidant.
Let's just play for you guys.
I'm not ashamed to say, I hope it always will stay this way. My hat is off, won't you stand up and take a bow? If you threw a party, invited everyone you knew, well, you would see the biggest gift would be for me, and the card attached would say, thank you for being a friend.
What a great song.
Yeah, so I thought I'd fill in some time.
Friends, that's a
Well,
great song. Who's that by?
I'm not sure to tell you the truth, but I've heard it
Okay.
before. It's actually a theme song for the Golden Girls, I think, or it might be a theme song for some show, but it just came into mind, so I thought I'd just play it while we worked out our technical issues.
Yes.
Maybe we can play it at the end, Guler.
Okay. So let's go back to where we were. Here we go. Join a support group. The prevalence of loneliness among elderly and people with a disability has actually helped facilitate a growing number of support groups. It is a great way to talk about your concerns and make connections with people who are dealing with the same or similar issues. They can also provide advice and point you into the right direction of services that you would benefit from.
Yeah, that's very true.
So, yeah, so it's just a suggestion that it'd be good to be a part of a support group. And you can still look up all these things on the net as well, can't you?
Yeah.
So just maybe something to help you out would be see what areas interest you, what topic areas that you want to get support on. Because say if you're a student, you might need support in accessing maybe some stress relief. I don't know, whatever. There's support groups there for all sorts of things. Shall I move on, Julie?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
So you can go to a day centre. Day centres are also a great option. Different from support groups, they focus on providing daily activities and a way to meet others. Another benefit that it may have, a day centres also provide transportation to and from the centre, making it easier to get out of the house and start interacting with others. You can use a tool on the government's website to help you find by simply entering your postcode. It is completely normal to feel alone or isolated when living with a disability, but as this list shows, there are ways you can beat it and enjoy a better quality of life. These tips may be small and simple, but they can have great impact on your life moving forward.
Yeah, I don't think there's too many day centres these days anymore.
I think what this slide is relating to, because Scope provides day centres,
Mm-hmm.
and so disability providers provide day centres,
Mm-hmm.
and they do they have like cooking sessions, they have outings, they go to bowling, they have a modified activities called balloon football, which my clients really love. They have all sorts of activities. They have my group from D&D coming in and running self-advocacy support groups, and in those groups we do a number of things. We have it's like about three things we do. We provide food, we provide fun, we provide information. So, so we make it as interactive as possible. And we've had great success with these groups in people learning self-advocacy skills. And so and the groups really benefit a lot. The participants in these groups benefit a lot.
You can also go to your local neighborhood house, or there's lots around your councils as well, might have a day center like
Gardening
group.
groups.
Yeah,
Neighborhood houses have gardening groups,
yeah, they have lots of things.
activities.
Mm.
They have morning teas. They have events for Mother's Day, Father's Day. They have all sorts of ways to connect people to communities, and usually pretty cheap options for people with disabilities, because some people with disabilities may not have a lot of income, so the activities are, they vary, but they've got lots of cheap options that are fun and interactive.
Okay. Ways to build friendships. What are some of the ways to facilitate personal relationships between people with and without disabilities? It takes effort to help people establish connections, especially like during COVID. That's the main thing that people with disabilities lost a lot, was connections. Described below are some of the ways this has been tried. Let's look at it. Bridge building. Facilitators who initiate, support, and maintain new relationships are called bridge builders, as they build bridges and guide people into new relationships, new places, and new opportunities in life. Bridge builders involve people with disabilities in existing groups or with specific individuals. Circles of friends or circles of support. Groups of people who meet on a regular basis to help a person with a disability accomplish certain personal visions or goals. Circle members try to open doors to new opportunities, including establishing new relationships.
Yeah, so what are they called in the professional sector? It's I'm involved in a few of them. Community of support. I can't think of the right term, but they're basically people that come together in a professional environment, and it's basically a circle, and we learn from each other. We learn from each other's experiences, and so yeah, so it's really a good support for people.
So are you saying the circles of support, there's actually organizations called circles of friends or circles of support?
This is it's been going on for about a couple of years now.
Yeah.
You can do it in a professional environment, but you can also do it in other informal ways. And I'm involved in a couple of them. One is with Carers Victoria, and the other one was with Ethnic Community Council of Victoria. So
Yeah.
it's like discuss, we have our groups and we discuss things that work, things that didn't work, strategies to improve the group meetings, stuff like that. So it's basically shared information.
How do you find them? I'm just not sure. I don't understand. How do you find that?
Well, it's the same concept as a circle of friends or circles of support. So I was invited to join these two groups because I work in the sector. But it's no different to finding circles of support in an informal way. So people may have, two or three people that have a common goal, and they come together and they share ways to achieve this goal. It's the same concept, but in my case, it's in a professional environment. But it's exactly the same concept.
Okay. Righty. Ways to build friendships joining existing groups. You were going to say something, were you, Julie? Or
No, it's fine.
okay. So what I found incredibly helpful has been joining long-standing social or support groups. But what kind of group should I join? Think about things you enjoy and search for groups focused on those subjects or identities. If you have an additional minority identity, there may be a support or discussion group around that topic. It's about being creative. See if you can find anything that matches your interests, identity, or even weaknesses. To find a self-advocacy group, click on the link below, voicestogether.com.au self-advocates find group. And there's another, you're going to...
We've talked about voices together quite often. So, we'll just believe. I think we should move on, and
Okay.
people can Google either with your voice or with Siri. It's a very good website for people to get information on different self-advocacy groups.
So what was the second one? You said Siri?
You can Google like Siri like the Apple application Siri.
Oh, it's the same. Oh, okay. Yep.
You talk to Siri and it can look for stuff for you.
Great.
For people that have accessibility issues.
Yeah.
We've talked about this a lot, the United Nations Convention of Rights for People with Disabilities. We've talked about this quite extensively on the program, and this would have something about friendships or intimacy on there. So, so this is a convention. The convention is basically an agreement, and some of these agreements are enshrined in law. So you'll find, let's see if I can find one of them. It's a bit unclear on my side.
I've tried to make it a bit bigger. Can you see it?
I can now, yeah. So let's have a look. Yeah. Freedom of speech. Okay, so right to family and relationships. That could be fall under this section.
Yeah.
You have to have friends before you sort of like get into family and relationships. So yeah, that's Article 18. So and a lot of these conventions are actually enshrined in our law, in laws in Australia and even state laws. So how about we leave that without audience? Because we've actually covered this quite a bit on the program. So the purpose of the present convention is to promote, protect and ensure the full and equal employment of all human rights and fundamental freedoms for all persons with disabilities, and to promote respect for their inherent dignity. Okay, so like I said, the United Nations Convention on Rights for People with Disabilities is Article 18, right to family and relationships. And I think this right really starts off with friendships, and then you build up. If that's your choice, you build up to family and relationships. Any other comments about this?
Maybe if one of our viewers can send us an email if they want, if they have additional information, they can write on our page, YouTube channel, like they can write things for us too to look at.
Yeah, that's a great idea, Guler.
Yeah. Okay, so next one. Life matters.
Life matters.
The realities of relationships with disability, it's almost like we're not regarded as sensual beings. So there's a link as well. I'll just highlight it a bit bigger
Mm-hmm.
so everyone can see. So it's abc.net.au/life/the realities of relationships with disability. So if you Google that, you'll get that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so do we want to break down the meaning of sensual beings, Guler? So
Yeah, you go for it. Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
so the idea of sensual is that sometimes people with disabilities are seen as not having the same needs as able-bodied people, so also known as an ableistic society. So, and sometimes feelings of people with disability are disregarded, or the topic is a bit taboo because our families may see people, you or as a person with disability, as not having these feelings, and then when these feelings are not addressed, they could actually impact on our mental health because it's actually a innate an innate need for all people to have very these feelings. So yeah, we'll talk about this a bit later, I think, as we move through the slides.
Okay. So we've got Touching Base Inc. and People with Disabilities Australia media release. People with disability have the right to sex. This is how we change laws. This week's decision by the Administrative Appeals Tribunal, AAT, about the National Disability Insurance Scheme, NDIS, funding for sex therapy has been welcomed as a first step towards people with disability having access to support to have sex, say leading disability and sex worker advocacy groups. We congratulate the applicant, a brave woman with disability who is determined to have the same rights as non-disabled people to an adult sex life, said Matthew Bowden, co-CEO of People with Disability Australia. The NDIS is underpinned by the CRPD, what is it again? The Convention
of Rights of People with Disabilities.
Yeah. Ensures that the rights of people with disability are paramount in all decisions. This was made note on the 11th of July 2019, and there's a link down the bottom which is pwd.org.au with disability have the right to sex. So I just made it a bit larger so people can see, and you can just put that into your search engine. Would you like to anything else we need to say about this?
Well, I think that people can research this in their own time because it could be a topic on its own, yeah, or a discussion on its own. So I encourage people to understand their basic right, and if this right is not fulfilled, then it could lead to emotional distress and all sorts of mental health issues, and also people's desires may be acted out in a negative manner. So just by people ignoring others and this need could have undesired consequences for society. And then when this need is met, hopefully people will be happier and much more sort of like settled in their mental health.
Mm. Once I worked at a place and it had people with ABI, acquired brain injury, severe. And what happened was they, a person wanted to have some sex therapy. And so he'd contact them, but the organization wasn't too happy about it. They didn't want to be involved with that, which was interesting. That was back, many, much long ago. And but today, I guess, in 2019, it's not seen like that anymore.
No.
Mm.
Yeah, and I've heard in aged care facilities how, just because people get old, it doesn't mean they don't have the same need and desire for physical intimacy. So there's been some interesting stories that come out of aged care facilities where a person organised some sort of event and it was shut down by the aged care facility. When they got hold of it, it was shut down. So yeah, it's a very interesting very interesting topic. People's rights to sex and the need to fulfill this need. And yeah, my only thing is that you don't want to feel depressed or and affect your mental health. So if you do have these feelings, maybe it's time to talk to a support worker about them, or if a support worker um, isn't too comfortable, maybe you contact an organisation like Touching Base. I'm sure there are other state organisations that would address these issues.
Yeah.
Moving on. Ah,
Yes.
wow, that was a very interesting uh, conversation, Claire. So, yeah, so like everything in life, do you feel comfortable in everyday situations to speak up? And you may not, and we've touched on very sensitive topics today, and just be assured there are services out there that will help you reach that goal if it's your choice. And then there are different steps you can take, yeah, like we said in the friendship pyramid. So when do you feel empowered and speak up for yourself? Now this is a good way to self-reflect, and you may feel very proud of yourself for speaking up, and you may want to go out there and encourage others to speak up, and maybe you can start your own self-advocacy group on how to speak up. There are organisations like SARU and Diversity and Disability that have these groups, but there's nothing stopping you from setting up your own group.
I was just thinking, that's great ideas. How would one go about doing that? Let's have a think about that for a bit.
Okay, so so let's say there's something in your head, and this idea is going around in your head, and you think, what a great idea! I wonder if anyone else has thought about this. And then um, and then you might take it a step further. You may write it down. Let's write down this idea. When you write down an idea, it's not up in your head. It's a physical reminder. This is how I do it. It's a physical reminder that, okay, this is an idea, and when I write things down, it expands. So I start writing down subtopics relating to the main idea. And then I think to myself, now what do I want to do with this idea? So I wonder whether my friends have thought about this idea. That you may talk to a friend, and then what they may say, what a great idea. That's, I've never thought about it that way. So then, okay, so you speak to another few people, and okay, and then you might think, what resources do I need? So then you sit down and with your friends, make a list of resources. You may need to get a flyer. You may need to get a flyer together. Does someone have the skills to make a flyer? So then you start to think of the skills that your friends have. Then if your friends don't have the skills or you don't have the skills, where can I get these skills? There are organisations you can go to, like a neighbourhood house, like a self-advocacy group, like Saru, to actually unpack your idea and get other opinions involved. And they can provide some resources. They can provide a worker to do the flyer for you. That's what they're funded to. They're funded to support you. Self-Advocacy Resource Unit, otherwise known as SARU. There are places like Diversity and Disability where you can come to a group, and maybe there's an established group that focuses on that idea. Maybe there's a group that can take on that idea and include it in their agenda for that particular group. But there are lots of ways you can tackle this idea.
Yeah. I've just got an example that I pulled up from the internet. Yeah. So
Yeah,
this is an idea of what you're talking about is like mind mapping.
Yeah.
So basically, in this particular mind map that I've pulled up, it's from Mind. Yeah. So it's MindMeister. But anyway, so see in the center, it's got mind mapping. Then, like what you were talking about before, Julie, about an idea and how you go. So here they've gone planning, and then it goes to projects and goals and strategies. Another thing might be creativity ideas, creativity, innovation and thoughts. Then we've got mind mapping around productivity. Each person will have their own legs, like their own arms of mind mapping. But this is a good one just to think about, like to put into concrete way of thinking about things. So you've got productivity, more efficient, intuitive. Then we've got collaboration, teamwork, sharing, colleagues. Then we've got benefits, the overview, easy to memorize, simple, fast, and fun. And also in this particular mind map, there's some things that link with other things, and you can just put arrows connecting those links up.
Yeah. I love the mind mapping concept. It's pretty similar to what I sort of like described, but it's a bit more detailed. And it's a concrete. A lot of people have memory issues. I have memory issues. If I don't write things down, they get to escape. So a lot of my work, I write a lot of things down. And so we have to know our limitations and how it's a strategy. It's no strategy is better or worse. It's just how you deal with it. How you deal with your limitation or that particular limitation.
Well, mind mapping organizations use it with their strategic plans and things like that. So it's mind mapping for everything it's great for any topic, really.
It is.
Yeah.
And my concept is think smart, think smart. And the way I do things, I write things down, and it works for me. You may have a different strategy. If you do have a strategy, just email us or put it on our comments page. We'll be happy to talk about it down the road. So, Guler, I think we've come to the end of our session.
Yes.
So, thank you, everyone in YouTube land. And thank you, Guler, for your idea about, doing this segment. And we will see everyone in a few weeks' time. Bye.
Yes, bye. And thank you so much for joining us. If you've got anything, email us, write it on our chat page. Just let us know, and we're here to hear some other topics that you want to listen to and let us know about. Yeah. Okay. So. Catch us on Your Life, Your Voice YouTube channel live every Monday fortnight or on demand.
We would like your comments and suggestions on topics that you would like us to explore. Leave your comments on YouTube comments section.
Please feel free to email us on dndyourlifeyourvoice@gmail.com or contact us via the Margaret Resource Centre Northwest Region Inc. Phone number 1300 676 044. 1300 676 044.
Diversity in Disability is a project of the Margaret Resource Centre Northwest Region Incorporated, and would like to thank the management for funding this project, especially living through the COVID-19 pandemic. The pandemic has been difficult for people with disabilities living in isolation.